O'Reilly! You've got questions? O'Reilly Auto Parts has answers. Need a pro you can trust? We've got that too. No matter what you need, our professional parts people have the training and expertise to help you do things right. Deep automotive knowledge, just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. The professional parts people.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This is a podcast from Minute Media.
Hashtag no music, no intro, no morals, no dignity. We can just list them all, bruh. I wish we could talk about other things on this podcast. I'm not even sure this is going to be a football podcast for much longer going forward. But we have to, when we can't talk about anything else, like this is the story, which is in itself disgusting. We have to continue to talk about this Deshaun Watson thing in terms of, this is a Saints podcast. This is hashtag Saints Twitter podcast. We'd be remiss if we didn't talk about it. And for me personally, I'm just waiting for the outcome to see what happens. I think regardless of the outcome of which team he picks, just how the Saints themselves as a team and as an organization have kind of just shown their ass and just fawned over someone like this. Like, even if he doesn't choose them, he goes to another team. Like, my fandom had completely changed after the NFC Championship to begin with. But now, man, like they signed Marcus May yesterday, right? And like I didn't even feel anything. I was like,
feel nothing. I felt nothing.
I was like, oh, okay. In this last week or so, I would say the amount of people I've blocked on Twitter has just been astronomical.
Most I've ever blocked ever. I don't block.
Yes, I know.
I don't block like crazy. You know what I'm saying? I block here and there, but I block. Usually if it's people that I follow a long time, I let them slide. They say something stupid. I'm like, I'll let them slide. Man, people I've followed each other for years.
Years, bro.
Bye.
It's just, and I listened to the meeting you both did, the Mina Khan's podcast. She had Jenny Vertus, I'm pretty sure I'm mispronouncing her name, who had covered this story at Sports Illustrated, like when it broke. To the date, the first accuser came out a year ago today. Which, think about this. Let me just put this in context. The first allegation, the first woman that came forward, I'm sorry, I may have said abuser. The first woman that came forward came out and with allegations a year to this date. And what is happening a year from this date? This man is getting a huge presentation by the hometown Atlanta Falcons. They got Terry Fontenot's ass in there. They got our what's his fucking the dopey face motherfucker? The head coach, Arthur Smith.
Arthur Smith, yeah.
Arthur Blank. Like, I listened to the end of Mina's podcast and hearing everything, and there were a couple of words that stood out to me. The first word, there's one word that stood out to me the most, and that was escalation.
Yes.
To me, that shining more light on this whole story of everything that's come out. There was this pattern of Deshaun Watson going to different masseuses and steadily trying to see how much he could get away with. We're not even talking about the fact that it's just completely abnormal and a complete just Like the fact that he had 22 masseuses is absolutely asinine. And
really like 50.
Right. That's just 22 that have come out. And to me, what that told me is that this guy is a fucking predator. This dude was on Instagram going through trying to DM different masseuses in hope, like to me, he was on the prowl. The absolute prowl. Why would you say that about him, Adam? Blah, blah, blah. People I deal with people like Deshaun Watson every day of my career for the last almost 7 years. So all this stuff that comes out of how he's behaving, I deal with people like this. And the first thing I thought about when I thought about him on the prowl, going through, picking out women's, scrolling through Instagram, blah, blah, blah. The first thing I thought about was, okay, let's say he gets traded to whatever team he goes to, Saints, Panthers, Falcons, Browns, what have you. And, he gets a suspension, blah, 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 blah. But let's say he plays, after his suspension, he plays well, whatever team he goes to, all this shit kind of dies down, blah, blah. And the first thing I thought about was how long is it going to take for him? Maybe he doesn't do it. Maybe this is the wake-up call that he needs, but his actions and his lack of contriteness tells me that he probably doesn't fucking care. And he thinks that he can get away with all of this because now he's been emboldened. He did this, got away with it. Fuck, I keep doing this. Ain't nothing going to happen to me. I'm Deshaun Watson. I got 4 teams at the palm of my hand, stroking my ego, making it all about me. I just want to know how long it's going to take for him to be on Twitter. Is it going to be Browns Twitter, Saints Twitter, Falcons Twitter, sending female fans maybe a DM? It feels gross. It feels absolutely gross. I can't wait for it to be over. And so one in our Discord said, one of our Discord people overseas was like, is this how it was when the Trump election was going on? And in a weird way, it kind of feels like that. Because I think for us, it's just, I get it, right? It's a football team, blah, blah, blah. But for me, I have been invested with this football team. Again, this is fandom. This is where fandom comes from. I've been invested with this football team longer than my daughter's been alive, longer than I've lived in California. I've had a relationship with the Saints longer than most people I've known in my life. Not everyone, but most people. So the fact that I'm willing to just be just burn it all down if he gets traded to New Orleans, it sucks. It really fucking sucks.
And, that's what pissed me off. I've really been, man, I just been so pissed off at Twitter. And I shouldn't be, you know what I'm saying? Because, look, if you read my bio, it's all about the jokes. You know what I'm saying? It's jokes. Don't take this shit seriously. Da-da-da-da-da. But it's really been pissing me off because the people that, it's crazy to me that people get so defensive and they go on attack. They literally an emotional attack because of the stance I take or the stance you take. Literally mad. You know what I'm saying? I really want to understand the psychology behind it. Mad that I'm not comfortable with somebody I feel is a sexual predator being the face of the franchise of the team I grew up with, the team I love, grew up with, the team my hobby. The team is my hobby. That's my hobby. I do a podcast. I read about it all day. Football in general. That's my main hobby. I got other things I do, but that's my main hobby. You know what I'm saying? And people get mad at me or you because we saying we don't fuck with it. We're not fucking with it. And it's just crazy to me that they get so mad. They either get mad or they're like, whatever, you're going to be rooting for the Saints anyway.
Oh, I've got
Talking
that.
that shit.
I've got
Block,
that. I've
block,
gotten.
block, 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 block. Just block. It's like, and people I've like followed for years. I'm like, man, who are you pandering for? Pandering? It's like, what are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? And it just made me realize, like, it was just kind of a wake-up call for me. Even though I've been on Twitter for so long, you think you're kind of cool with people, but you realize these motherfuckers don't know me.
Nope.
Like, they really don't know me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't pander to anybody. You know what I'm saying? I speak Wolf's mind, period. And, people, woke, I saw woke Wolf, pandering.
They called you woke Wolf, bro.
Woke Ryan.
Woke Wolf would have stuck, bro.
I had to chuckle. I was like, okay. So fake outrage.
Oh, I've gotten that one. And then if it's not that, it's the what about isms, right? It's like, well, like,
what about Jameis?
What about Jameis? And it's like, first of all, if you haven't listened to our last episode in terms of why the Watson situation is different than Jameis, first of all, don't even come to approach me. Don't do it. Don't listen. Please do. We explained that.
By the way, it's just a side note, the most listened to podcast ever. Podcast.
2,300 plus downloads, which I think it tells you, one, this issue is so decisive amongst Saints Twitter, but this issue it's just not a Saints Twitter issue. It's a Falcons Twitter issue. Shout out, I know we're supposed to hate the Falcons. Shout out to Gianna Thomas, who covers the Falcons, who is adamantly against Deshaun Watson being traded to the Falcons, to the point where she even tweeted out a link to people who wanted to sell their season tickets and their licensing if it happened today. Like, I know that for, I think the Panthers, they put like the beat reporter of the Panthers, Joe Person or whatever at the Athletic, put a poll up if the Panthers wanted Panthers fans wanted, and like 70% said no. So the fact that we have these four that we know of, right? We already know the Colts already, try to put their head in, like, what's going on? And the Texans was like, nah, shut the door on them. What is absolutely crazy to me, and I tweeted it because I think it's so important to the point, is that this man, this individual, this deviant has the entire NFL at his beck and call, because there are players who will not sign a contract with certain teams until they know where he goes. Nick Underhill tweeted today that he believes that 3 positions on the Saints is just basically in a holding pattern until it gets realized where Deshaun Watson is going to get traded to. And I tweeted, I said, I wonder if the Saints feel as powerless as the women in those massage rooms did when they were with Deshaun Watson. And yet they don't see it like that. What do they see? They see a franchise quarterback that they could give 3 first-round picks. Bruh, we've talked about this so much in our Discord. And I guess times like this, it really makes me appreciate our Discord that much more. So people who are in our Discord, we really appreciate you guys who are Patreons and all that. But, bro, can you imagine us 2 years ago? Like, let's say even like a year ago, maybe before the accusations came out, and you would have told us we would have given 3 first-round picks and possibly Cesar Ruiz to get Deshaun Watson, bro.
Bro, I would be outside dancing in the rain like motherfucking you got served or something, boy.
Like that would be stealing. Like,
it would have brought me back. I'd have been back to being an obsessed fucking fan again. It would have been, and that's another thing that just pisses me off about this. I
Right.
can't even enjoy free agency, bro.
Can't even, not a
Free
single thing,
agency
bro.
been nuts. It's been nuts this week, and I ain't even enjoying it, man.
Not even enjoying to see them. Like, I see the news, I see the moves, and I look at my phone, I'm like, okay. You know,
I ain't even enjoying it, bro.
if Deshaun Watson picks, and again, I keep saying it, he gets to pick his team.
He is the man on the mountain.
Gets to control everything. Why? He's in power. Now, don't get me wrong. There are other players in the league that have no trade clauses. Russell Wilson had no trade clause, right? He got to pick where he wanted to go. I'm not saying that if you're a quarterback and you have a no trade clause, that automatically makes you a bad person, blah, blah. But if you're a person like Deshaun Watson, who've already shown that you abuse your power dynamic. Also, shout out to our girl, Maddie, who put a plethora of videos in a thread from her personal experiences and just talking about the whole power dynamic in general. So she's already gone in this in depth in detail. I know about it because of my job. But long story short, there is an imbalance in power. As soon as a person like Deshaun Watson walks into somewhere like a massage room, there is an imbalance in power. Period. Point blank, period. So the fact that he's still leaning into using his power to get all these teams to line up, do their chuck and jive, dance. Oh, Sean putting all these presentations. It's gross, man. Like, I can't even think of a word to describe it except it's fucking gross. None of these teams have talked to Deshaun Watson's defense attorney, although I don't know if they could because of, attorney-client privilege. But like you tweeted today, none of these teams want to reach out to the victims.
They haven't. None of them.
There's 22 of them. Not one team might want to speak to one of these women to hear their side of the story. Because I'll tell you one thing: it's very easy. Because I again, in my job, I'm taught. I mean, I'm sure in law enforcement, social workers, you are taught two things. You're taught one thing that's very important: get both sides of the fucking story. So if the Saints, Panthers, whoever it is, are interviewing Deshaun Watson trying to sort things out, what the fuck do you think that he's going to fucking tell you?
From the NFL team's perspective, here's what it is.
Right.
The NFL decided not to do the commissioner exemption. So that's one thing. The NFL did their own little investigation, embarrassed a lot of the accusers. That's been written about. And they decided, okay, he's not going to exemption list for whatever reason. Then the criminal, the grand jury came up last week, didn't get any charges. That's it. Like, for NFL teams, we've seen enough. If it didn't meet the criteria for charges, for criminal charges, it didn't meet the criteria for the NFL commissioner's exemption list, we good to go. All we got to worry about is, there's a suspension coming, that could be, 4 games, 6 games, 8 games. Worst case scenario season. A lot of people feel like teams already know what the suspension is going to be. So they're like, hey, we can live with that. They're not even looking at, what he did, what he's likely to do in the future.
Nope.
They're not looking at none of that, man. It's, I don't want to know if you plan B, keep it on the low. They don't want to know, bro. It's like, they are just Google-eyed over a top 5 quarterback. No question about it. No football. People get on mentions about the football aspect. I know, bro. Like, I know the football aspect. There's no question about it. And that's why I don't even hold it against most Saints fans that are Google-eyed. I've been there. You would have caught me about 7 years ago, I'd have been just like that. About 6, 7 years ago, I'd have been like, man, I ain't worrying about all that. Get Deshaun, because that's just where my brain was at. I didn't care. I wouldn't say I didn't care, but I was so obsessed in my fandom that I would easily compartmentalize certain things and just look past certain things. You know what I'm saying? But just through growth, getting older, understanding, talking to people, understanding different issues, as we get older and mature, I view some things differently. That's why I don't hold out so many Saints fans that are just like, man, look, I just want to enjoy football. This dude is a baller. Get us back to the Super Bowl. That's all I'm worried about. Okay, you're a fan, but at least say that. But these people that are like all doing all these gymnastics and Olympics to justify it. Like, Jameis. What about Jameis, Florida State, and Uber? Or, well, we got Carl Granderson on the team. What about him? Or, well, there's no proof that he really did what he did. He didn't get charged by the grand jury, and just all these different things. Oh, he's a young guy. Probably just made some mistakes. All that is just justifications, man. You just try. I've heard plenty of times. Oh, the black man thing. Like, bro, look, I know the black man story better than you. Trust me.
Boom.
No, like, I don't want to hear that shit. Like, look at this case. Look at it. Do your research, because what blows me away is none of these people have even tried to do the research. None of them.
None.
And the worst response is, it's something I kind of subscribed to for like 5 minutes when this first came out, was this was a setup. Because
bro, both you and I had the exact same thoughts. They're like, we were like, damn, they trying to set this nigga up because he wanted.
Because it was crazy. Because remember, it was crazy. It was like 1 week, he's like, okay, we want to leave Deshaun Watson, the man in the trade, he wants to get out of there. He would not play for the Texans anymore. Then like a week or two later, the little cases started to drop. Then it was like, what? But then it was like 22 cases. It was like, ooh. Just more came out. And then Jenny started writing her stuff and more facts came out. And I was like, reading that. I'm like, oh, okay. It's different. This is different.
Like this nigga is a SUV, just a walking SUV case, bro.
Walking SUV case, man. I was like, nope, I'm good.
I mean, we're recording this right now. I mean, it could break while we're recording, but I just want this to be over. And I even tweeted something last night that got so many people in my mentions that don't even follow me. Like literally overnight, I probably had like 25 people getting my mentions. All I tweeted, I said this. I said, if Deshaun Watson gets traded to the Saints, like my relationship with football is done. It will cease to exist. I won't watch football anymore. And I don't know why people question me. Like it's like you said, right? It's picking people on Twitter. People don't know shit about you. I didn't speak to my mother for 10 fucking years. You don't think I can stop watching football? Like, get the fuck out of here. But all I said is this, if he got traded to the Saints, like, I'm going to go through my Twitter and like unfollow 95% of like football accounts and 95% of like people that I follow, mostly for like football purposes, right? For humor, camaraderie, whatever. And 25 people got in my mentions last night. I was sleeping when I woke up to, and they were like, well, either bye or like, no, you won't. Block. Blocked about 30 people this morning, just off the bat. Like, you have no fucking clue. And the quicker, and I wish for some people, they realize at the end of the day, this shit is, football is a game, right? But this shit is not life. Like, I have a literal fleur-de-lis tattoo on my right bicep. Like, how much? Like, do you know how? Like, and whatever, right? Like, it's more for like Louisiana. It's more for the city of New Orleans, but it's also for the Saints, right? Because my connection to that place has always been so strong, obviously because of the football team. But it's just people just showing their ass, man. It's just really people showing their ass. And I've already kind of like unfollowed some people that I've followed for years just because, like, I don't know, man. Like, just seeing it on Twitter, just seeing that, like, that thirst, and just like, I'm just like, this, like, gross, man. It's just,
I'd be like,
gross.
damn, this is what I look like? Like, damn.
When I was single, I was looking this bad? God damn. So I guess if we could briefly kind of moving on from the show, and I saw before we do, for all the people who reached out to us negatively, I also want to reach out to the people that reached out to us positively and just give a lot of credit and praise for and being and just showing gratitude for the people that reach out to us positively, because I tweeted this a couple of days ago, but it was just very weird to me that only me, you, Maddie, a couple of others in Saints Twitter, like who quote unquote cover the Saints, had really like just made a deal, like had really just talked about it and just being against it. Right. But followers have reached out to us in our mentions and our DMs, the Discord, just showing us just love. And we really do appreciate it. Like, I don't feel like you and I are doing anything extraordinary, bro. We're just speaking how we feel. And
that's it.
Unfortunately, that may not be the consensus, and people might feel the other way, but I do want to let people know that if we do have to shift the tone or shift the content of this show, maybe it's not going to be the Saints Twitter podcast going forward. We do hear y'all. We will continue to podcast. Don't know what the subject matter may be. I just call him 22. If 22 gets traded to the Saints, but we will continue to record. The content is going to change, but we really do appreciate everyone that has reached out to us, or people who has also shared their truth. There's been several women who've reached out on Twitter and our mentions, shares their truth, has shared their trauma and their experience about things that have gone on to them. And then that, obviously they're putting it on Twitter, so they don't mind us like retweeting it and things like that. So for all these people, and I think Greg said it the best, and you said it the best, is that if you take the juxtaposition of how the team was, how the Saints were as an like as a team, players, when Drew said that he didn't like people who would kneel for fucking the flag or whatever, fucking Malcolm Jenkins put a whole Twitter video out on this nigga, like he was just blasting Drew for minutes. But then you have this guy who has 22 sexual assault allegations against him, civil, and like literally Teron Armstead, one of like the quote unquote holy rollers, like good guys. Sean Payton went on, waxed poetically about him when he was stepping down. He's like waiting to see if he comes to New Orleans, so he stays. Like,
it just goes to show you the value. People have different values, which is understandable. You know what I'm saying? Some things get people hot more than others, and it's understandable. But it underscores the point that a lot of women have made over the years. And I ain't gonna lie, like years ago, I would kind of roll my eyes at it. It would be like, nobody listens to women. They hate women, this and that. I'm like, oh, nobody hate women. What are you talking about? But you just see how like people just kind of, they're just like, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like the things some women have to deal with. And, I learned more just in being with my wife, the things she tell me with the things that scare her, just pumping gas, just little things, pumping gas, or, somebody knocking on the door you don't know, some guy, trying to holler at her when she alone, things that, really frighten the shit out of them, you know what I'm saying? And just through learning that, you just realize a lot of things that we just kind of brush off. It's like, oh, stop complaining. It's no big deal. Man, like, some of those are like some real, like, crucial moments for a lot of women. And especially when you I just think about these women who just like up and coming masseuses, just hustling, grinding, trying to make a come up, and they get put in a position with a powerful player who could ruin their career if he wanted to. Like he could he could put them on blast. That's why, one of the things that really was gross that he did is like he demanded that, their names get put out there and all that stuff once the suits came out. He made them refile so they wouldn't filing anonymously and stuff like that. And I understand the legal version of that. You want to be able to, know your accuser and all that stuff. But
that's also a sign of you wanting to have complete control and showing
exactly
and showing your power and your dominance over your victims too.
Thank you. And it's like these things are really important, man. And the fact that so many people don't see them, it bothers me. It bothers me. It really does bother me. I hope people learn from it though. Not everybody perfect. Not everybody gonna see things how I see them. I didn't see things how I see it, as I see it today, from years ago. So, it does take growth. And I'm more lenient with people as far as like giving them the space to do that. But don't come at me, man. Like, don't get in my mentions with some shit, bro. You out of here. Like, you are done. Don't come at me talking about I'm this, I'm that, or I'm not this, I'm not that. You out of here.
I got my first version of an atomism today. Someone reached out to me and was like, someone like Wolf blocked me. I think it was by mistake. Can you tell them how at me? I was like, this must feel right. Must feel like
exactly what I feel like. I get them all day.
So let's move on because we could fucking talk about this all night, all over again. I really don't want to waste my time and energy doing that. Let's hit on some things that have happened. Not there's so much that's happened in the NFL and free agency in general. Let's stick with the Saints. Marcus Williams out of here, gone. Signs with the Ravens, $14 million a year. It seems like that contract that he signed with the Ravens. Again, shout out to someone, Couch GM in our Discord, kind of pointed out that second year, that contract, like he gets like 31, like his cap or something goes up to like 31 million. Like it is super front loaded in the second year. And it was kind of structured that way. So like New Orleans couldn't do the things that they normally do.
Right.
I'll say this, right? And I don't know how much of the whole pursuit of 22 is a part of this. It's like if their attention's just not where it should be, I wouldn't be surprised if it's not, but it's really weird to me. And I get that they got Marcus May. I brought him up weeks ago on this podcast as Marcus Williams' replacement because it just made sense, right? Like someone's cheaper. He's coming off a DUI and coming off a torn Achilles. I was like, man, I know a Saint when I see one. But to lose an elite free safety at 25, 26, when you've promoted Dennis Allen, who is a defensive coordinator, and you're trying to like give the impression that this team is going to be still ran by his defense or what have you in terms of, led by his defense, and just to let Marcus Williams go. And so Marcus May's getting like $9 million a year. Marcus Williams is getting like $14 million. I guess that's a $5 million difference, which is huge, right? I'm not trying to pretend that it's not, but everyone likes to bring up that 2017 fucking draft class. That almost entire draft class is fucking gone.
Yeah, that's crazy.
only three left is Lattimore, AK, and Ram, and depending on this fucking trade with Watson, they might be gone.
It's just crazy, man. It's crazy. Yeah, I mean, I felt like the kind of writing was on the wall. Once we got to last week, and he still didn't have an extension, it was like, yeah, he gone. So I kind of got prepared for it, but it is crazy when you think about it, especially if you think about potentially him and Teron Armstead. That's like, man, that's some talent out the building. But the thing that struck me about Marcus Williams is like this is going to have to be a defensive led team moving forward. Even if they got 22, because they still will when they get 22, they're going to have to give up a lot.
Yep.
And it's going to, the team is going to need some building, going forward if they make that trade. So it's just crazy that the amount of talent, that's just leaving the team, man. Like, I would have loved to keep Marcus Williams, man. I wish they could have figured it out. But like we talked about, Loomis set that number, bro. I'm guessing it was like around 12, 13 million.
I would say 12, 13 million. Yeah, probably around there.
And, from Marcus' standpoint, it's like, go get it, man. And look, not like it's a bad move. You're going to go to the Ravens. They're going to know how to use him. He's probably going to get a little more, publicity and stuff like that. So, he's going to do well for himself. But, it's just kind of disappointing to see him leave, though.
It is. I haven't had the chance to really break down Marcus May. I've seen him in passing. He's not. I will say this: he doesn't have the elite range that Marcus Williams does, because not many safeties in the NFL do. But he can play single high from time to time. He's a, and this is, I guess, this is where it gets interesting in terms of how they're going to deploy them. I guess I'm assuming they're going to keep Malcolm Jenkins, I guess. But to me, Marcus May is a younger version of Malcolm Jenkins, but he can play a little more single high and can play free more than Malcolm can. And it's the best way I can kind of describe him as a player.
No, I'm gonna get around to watching them and doing a little deep dive on them. But it's a fine move. It's a fine move. The money wise, it made sense. But the guy is coming off an Achilles, so he's apparently ahead of schedule. But you're switching out a player that's been pretty healthy and consistent for a couple of years for a guy, who's coming off a major injury. So you don't know. Plus a DUI, which he's likely to be suspended for maybe 2 games.
We have the same type of type. I will. We talked about how the defense is going to change if Marcus Williams wasn't there, so I don't want to kind of regurgitate that. I do think we'll see a lot of two high safety looks, a lot more than free, just that free safety kind of just range that Marcus Williams could kind of take away. But I know Saints fan, if you're listening to this, I will say that Marcus May is definitely a better tackler.
Yeah, I remember that.
He will put a lick on you, absolutely. The Saints also extended Bradley Roby, which may mean nothing. Like maybe they just wanted to keep him, and they, he had a $10 million cap hit, so maybe they extended him just to get that cap number down.
Yeah,
but there's also like a semi-conspiracy theory that if the trade for 22 happens, that one of the players that may be going out in that trade is CD Deuce. And so if you extend Bradley Roby, then at least you could have someone who could, in theory, play the slot still.
Yeah, right.
And as we're recording this, like Saints Twitter is freaking out because I guess CD Deuce like unfollowed all his teammates on Instagram. Oh no, bro. I don't. It's just silly, Brad. It's dumb. All this is dumb. Can we? So, and we don't know this. I will say, it seems like all signs are indicating that the Saints were not high on this draft class in terms of quarterbacks, right?
No,
because you wouldn't do this. What you're doing if you were confident in any one of these quarterbacks in this draft. Still haven't signed a wide receiver. Seems like if 22 comes to New Orleans, he might bring Jarvis Landry and Will Fuller with him. Like again, that's a power thing. They did They put a tender on Shy Tuttle. They put a second round tender on Deontay Hardy / Harris. Man, I feel like that's really all the Saints have done, because I feel like let's be real, man. Like they're waiting. They are waiting, and to me, and they're not the only team that's waiting, right? Other teams are waiting too. But the fact that they're waiting to potentially see if they land this quarterback that has all this baggage and all this other shit's just flying off in free agency, blah blah. Like it's a bad look. Period. Period. It's a bad look. But if you don't land as a team, right? Not as him as a person or morality, but if you don't land him as a player, and then you struck out and kind of sat on your hands in free agency, and then you don't end up with anything in free agency, then you're a fucking joke. I mean, you're already a joke by already how much they're trying to make this happen, but then you're even more of a joke because you look desperate for this player that you don't get, and now potentially your free agency plans that you may have had can't come to fruition because you don't land this player that you're trying to get.
Oof. That would be ugly, bro. Ugly. But you made your bed, you know?
Yep. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I'll find it interesting to see what happens. You know, I mean, it seems like everybody just keeps saying, you know, oh, well, just bring Jameis back. It'd be so fascinating if somebody scoops him up, man. And the Deshaun thing falls through. And it's like, what do you do?
Because it sounds like, for whatever reason, it sounds like Jimmy G in Indianapolis is like, maybe it's going to happen. I think maybe Jimmy G is the Saints fallback plan if they don't get 22, but maybe Jimmy gets traded to Indiana. So let's just say, for all shits and giggles, right? Let's say Jameis, I don't think he would because it just doesn't make sense, but let's say Jameis goes to Cleveland, right? And Jimmy G goes to Indy. Then what, bro?
Well, if Deshaun went to Atlanta, I'd be calling about Matt Ryan. The problem is, I don't think the Falcons would trade up to the Saints. But I'd be immediately calling about Matt Ryan.
Here, and I think something that does need to get clarified sooner rather than later is there's been conflicting reports in terms of Matt Ryan's contract, in terms of if he has a no trade clause or not. Because one report said he did have a no trade clause, and the one came out today said he did not have a no trade clause. And I tweeted this yesterday. And the tweet fucking blew up. But just the fact, and I tweeted, I said, bro, if 22 goes to Atlanta, like, and Matt Ryan came to the Saints, like I said, the Saints Twitter would explode. Would absolutely explode.
Oh, it'd be funny as fuck. But here's the thing: it'll be a good football move. I think Matt Ryan would give you like 2017 Drew Brees. You know what I'm saying? Like,
depending on the defense, might just be might be enough, bro. Might be enough. You know. Now, what he costs and stuff like that, that's a major issue because he is getting older. He has that contract and all that stuff, but it would be a bad football move. I don't know if it could happen because, oh man, like Matt Ryan coming to the Saints. I don't care, bro. Like I tweeted,
it'd be hilarious.
Give me Matt Ryan. You can give me fucking Baker Mayfield, bro. You know I can't stand Baker as a player. No,
man, you can't stand Baker, bro.
Stand player, bro. Bring him here. Like it's to the point where can it be anyone but 22? Like anyone but him, please. So at least to a degree, I can watch football. Like it still, I still like. It's gonna take time, even if they don't land him, for me to just be back to like even or how I was like this last season. But I don't know, man. It's anyone, and they haven't addressed a single wide receiver. Austin Cooper got cut. I knew he had to get fucking cut, bro. I knew he was going to get cut. You can't like that whole. I was like, as soon as they tied in Njoku, I was like, Austin Cooper got to be out of there, man. They had 3 tight ends. It just didn't make sense. Like, you can't fool me, man. I've seen this leak too many times. I put it on Twitter, bro. Trade for Matt Ryan. Go get Julio. Just bring back. Infuse the Saints with fucking Falcons, and bro, could you imagine? Like, I know it wouldn't happen, but could you imagine if the Saints won the Super Bowl with Matt Ryan and Julio Jones, bro? Like, that would. And the Falcons had like 22, and like just, bro, that would be absolutely amazing, bro. Like, that's my series finale. I wouldn't even have to watch football again if that were to happen, bro. Like, it would be too sweet. Any other move just in free agency in general that you want to talk about, not so much Saints related?
I mean, not much. I like the Chargers getting Khalil Mack and adding what's the Patriots cornerback?
J.C. Jackson.
J.C. Jackson. I like that. I just like the front and back. You know what I'm saying? I just like that move. That's just a nice, clean. Chargers draft really well. It's just like, why are you guys not winning? Like, I don't know. It's just
maybe your coach should be going for 4th and 3 at like your own fucking 30 or fucking 40-yard line.
Maybe he learns. Maybe he learns from it. Maybe he can coach a good defense, because that defense was, but maybe they'll be better now. With some secondary and the pass rush. They really need a pass rush opposite Bosa. So I just like that. That's a nice little team, kind of like my Bengals last year. Nice little team. I just kind of look at, Herbert. That's my dog. It's the kind of team I'm looking at. I found I know people hate the Mitchell Trubisky, the Steelers thing. Like, oh, please. And he probably doesn't start. Like, if you look at the money, it's not like starter money. Like, I really think they're going to draft like Malik Willis or Pickett. But a part of me believes, man, like, if you really lean into the run game with Trubisky, you could be solid. Like, if you got a good defense, I'm not saying he's going to be good, but like his rookie year, like, I remember when he was running his rookie year, and I think some of his second year, that dude got some wheels, bro. Like, he got some wheels. He's big, but when you ask him to throw the ball, different story. But they didn't lean into the run game enough when he was with the Bears. Like, you got to do him like, Jalen Hurts. Like, run. Like, that's all you do. You know what I'm saying? But as far as like other moves, nobody.
Do we even have we even had a chance to talk about Tom Brady fucking unretiring, bro?
Oh my God, we didn't even talk about that shit. Oh, why, man? That was one of my worst days, man, because we were dealing with that Deshaun shit, and that shit dropped, bro. I was just like, this sucks. And Marcus Williams leaving, it was just like, man.
It was such a shitty day, bro. It was the opposite of fucking, it was a good day, bro.
It was like, this sucks. It was sucky.
It was. I do like, and I like some of the moves that the Ravens have done. Obviously, you talked about Marcus Williams. They brought back Zadarius Smith.
Yeah, that was a nice move.
Really loading up on the defense. I think, and this is why, again, if you hit on a rookie quarterback, it changes everything. Like you talked about the Chargers, they're able to do all this in terms of their situation just because they're flush with cap space because Justin Herbert's on a rookie quarterback deal.
You're making like $7 million or something, bro.
It's crazy. And he's like a top 5 quarterback in the league.
Right.
like it's ridiculous. There's been so many moves. Like the fact that Von Miller got $17.5 million from the Bills.
Man.
That is a very overcorrection of what happened in that playoff game.
Mm-hmm.
we saw it with Sean Payton and the fucking Minnesota Miracle and fucking what did what's his name? Not Sean. Oh,
Sean McDermott.
Sean McDermott. Bro, he said he watched that 13-second drive like 100 times. Or something like that. Right?
Emotions, boy.
Bro, you telling me I know how head coaches thinks. He's a defensive head coach. In his mind, he's going, if we just had one more guy that could just have some juice, that could have just got to number 15 and got a sack, and it would have ran the clock out. We would have won that game. Like it consumes them. So what do? They go get Von Miller, who before the playoffs was looking pretty washed, right? Can we at least wash, bro? In the playoffs, he turned it on.
When he got traded to the Rams, everybody was like, it's that
right
veteran probably his last year.
And then he turned it on in the playoffs, and he turned it on in the Super Bowl, and then he was able to turn that into getting $17.5 million from Buffalo at 32.
Well, like $45 million guaranteed.
I mean, I ain't mad at him. I
love it, man. Get your flowers on the way out, bro.
Shit. What else? I'm just trying to think of just moves that the Jags spending spree.
Jags, yeah.
It's just
They just
it's like they remind me like you ever got like a nice fat tax return, or you got like when you was getting stimuluses and like you was like, man, I don't even really need this, but I buy it anyway.
On Amazon Prime, fat kid deals pop up on your Twitter. You're like,
I don't need this, but you know what?
Like, a nice little strainer for spaghetti. I'll just get one.
That's Evan Ingram.
That's my only thing. Like, I don't mind them blowing money to get players, but it just doesn't seem to match. Like, I don't see the vision. Could be wrong.
I will say this, right? And I'll give credit to Doug Peterson. I know they spent a shit ton of money to get these players, but also I think people have to realize that the Jags right now are very much how the Saints were before Sean Payton got there.
Exactly.
They have to overpay.
You got to overpay
to get players to come there. I like that Doug Peterson, which is partly why I wanted him to be the head coach, come to the Saints. I like that he came in and he identified that the wide receiver room, he's like, these niggas suck. Don't like him. I need to change this. So when he goes out, gets Christian Kirk, he goes out, gets Zay Jones. They already got Marvin Jones. Sounds like Laviska Shenault might not, bruh. Why are we not on the phone with Jacksonville saying, hey, we give you a fourth rounder, can we get Laviska just to see, bruh? Can we just to see?
It's crazy.
Yes. What up, man? These niggas.
But they're helping their quarterback out, man. I love this.
Period.
Because that's the key.
It is, especially a young quarterback that had his confidence rocked last year. Man, get him. I don't know. I really don't like the Elvin Ingram move. Like, he is a quarterback killer. Like, he's gonna be dropping whatever. Oh, man. But I do like the Christian Kirk move. I understand they overpaid for him, but I do like it. I mean, I like, again, they shopped and they shopped heavily. There's about 5-ish teams right now, 6 teams right now. They're still really kind of like the quarterback market is just very complex and weird. We're gonna get, I would imagine, resolution within these next couple of days in terms of 22 picking a team. And then I really think that as soon as that happens, there's going to be a flurry of moves. I really do. I think you'll get Teron Armstead. If 22 becomes a Saint, he'll stay with the Saints at a reduced contract, probably below his market value. If he doesn't come to the Saints, he'll go to another team, maybe like the Dolphins or something, where he gets paid, a huge payday. Think you'll start seeing players like Jarvis Landry, who got cut, sign. He's visiting the Falcons. You'll see. It's crazy to me. Like, I could have thought Juju Smith-Schuster was signed by the Chiefs. Nope, wasn't signed by the Chiefs. He's still a free agent. I think we're going to get a flurry of moves after the whole number 22 situation resolves itself. It feels like
we forgot to mention that since we didn't do anything with Teron today, his dead cap money hit
13
million, which is, I don't know where we are with the cap right now. I really don't. Because I would think we're still over the cap right now. I don't know. I'm not understanding how it works right now.
Yeah, I have no clue. No clue.
I mean, they had to foresee this, so I don't know. I need more information.
Yeah, it seems like
if they bring him back, they're gonna have to live with the cap. They can't.
Yeah, for sure. They're gonna have to live with him giving him a new contract on top of the
dead money.
The dead money. Yes. Yeah, that's just something they're gonna have to live with. And people were like, it was just weird to me because people were like, wow, why hasn't they're waiting for Deshaun Watson and he hasn't picked, why he hasn't picked the team yet, blah, blah, and we're waiting, this, he will do whatever he wants to do whenever he wants to do it because he's the one in control. As soon as people realize that he is leaning into his power dynamic in terms of it all revolves around him, the better off you'll be. Period. Yep. The better off you'll be. It's not about, he's not caring about a team. He might, in theory, say oh, well, if I go to this team, I want to play with this player. So in your trade, we also didn't we haven't even mentioned that all these teams that have met with him have all made offers to the Texans that in theory, the Texans have agreed to. It's done, right? That's done.
That part's done.
The only thing that is still waiting is him deciding where he wants to go. As gross as that is, but we'll keep recording and talking about the Saints as long as we can. As soon as the news comes out, we'll do an emergency podcast as soon as that happens. And we'll just kind of address it when it happens. I mean, I wish this podcast was a little more upbeat and funny and things like that, but I just be honest with you, man. I'm just not in the mood.
I'm not, bro.
I just have this morass, this just this low key kind of dread, going on, and I don't know. And knowing this, our Discord does bring me a lot of humor because all the times the Saints have been in situations like this. There was Jadeveon Clowney, there was Sue, there was Odell. Who else? Am I missing anyone else? Those are the big ones I remember.
The Panthers cornerback.
That one kind of happened fast. Josh Norman. Most often than not, right? What happens, right? It gets reported. Saints are in the lead, all that, and then it always ended up the player signed with another team, he picked another team, or whatever, right? That has been the Saints' motto, and everyone on our Discord is watch this be the one fucking time, right? Just the one move that we don't want to happen. Watch this be the one fucking time that we get picked. But we'll see. But I hope this saga is over soon. Tomorrow's Thursday. Hopefully by the end of the week, there'll be some type of resolution of this. So I just wanted to just update the numbers in terms of our Deshaun Watson episode that we did. Our last Deshaun Watson episode we did 2,730 downloads.
Jesus.
By far, since we've been doing this podcast, the most downloads we've done for a single episode. Like bigger than game recaps, all that. Bigger than all that has been that episode. So, and I don't know if people, I mean, we were pretty honest about what the content of it, was. So we'll keep doing this as long as we can. If we get information where we might have to shift the content, then we work on that. Get Hal on the line, start talking about Kenobi. Start, talk to him about that episode in Boba, with the deep fake and Luke and everything, bro. Like, we're gonna be all right. Even if we're not talking about football, talking about the Saints, we will be all right. But with that, again, we want to thank people who continue to listen to us, continue to support us. We really do appreciate it. It's just been a sucky couple of days. Even just, it's a football team, but it's still it just doesn't feel right. Is the best way. It just doesn't feel right. But we're still here. We're still doing what we need to do, putting these episodes out and putting content out because we appreciate you guys and how you guys support us. So with that, we're gonna get out of here. We'll be back probably very soon. I have a feeling it's gonna probably be very soon. But when that time happens, we'll be back, record an emergency podcast. But until then, we're out.
Peace.
O'Reilly.
Check engine light on? Take the guesswork out of your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free and provides a report with solutions based on over 650 million vehicle scans verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we can recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.